I had developed a thyroid problem. Over the years, my thyroid had stopped working properly and I had hypothyroidism. I was supposed to put on weight, I was supposed to get very thick skin, I was supposed to grow hairs everywhere, I was supposed to, basically look like a monster. My thyroxine level was very, very high and they didn't give me much hope. They said that the situation is terminal and if I take medication, I have a chance to live, but if I don't take medication, I don't have a chance to live anymore. Coming to the church, I was introduced to the chain of prayer. Halfway through the chain of prayer, I started to notice that the symptoms were getting better, and I went to have a test and I saw that the TSH level was going down. It went from 120 to 60 to 40 to 20, till eventually it went to, I think, 0.6, which is where it should be, and even the doctors were amazed. They couldn't really explain what had happened. Today I'm completely healed and I haven't taken a single tablet. It's been more than 13 years.
Hello, good evening and welcome to a very, very special Finding Answers. Actually, this is the Finding Answers. We're calling tonight's program Against Facts, There Are No Arguments. We have here tonight 8 guests with us with real life stories. They're here sitting right next to us. You can see there in the camera shot. We have a lot of people in the studio. It's getting quite hot in here because there's a lot of people. And the stories you are about to hear tonight are amazing. What we want you to know is that if God's changed the lives of these people that are here, that have gone through hell and back, He has to be able to change yours for sure. And we want you to know that. And if at any point you want to contact us during this program, whether by phone to ask for prayer, to ask for help, by email, Victoria, how can they get in contact with us?
So you can phone at any point, you can speak to our advisors, or you can even speak to us live if you wish. Our number is 020 7686 6300, or you can send us an email. I'm happy to read that out live on air. The email address is help@findinganswers.tv. Or if you'd like to talk to us via social media, you can send us a tweet. Just start your tweet with @FindAnswersTV, or you can search for us on Facebook. Just look for Finding Answers.
Now, the thing about tonight's program is that if you blink, you miss something amazing. That's how powerful tonight's real life stories are. And I'm sure that in here, with these people that you can see here tonight, there is something here that has to do with your life. If you have financial problems, something here, they overcame that, and that has to do with your life. If you have a problem with addictions, something here has to do with your life. If you have a problem with family, health issues, whatever it is that you're going through, we're here to tell you that God is able to change your life. And no one can debate that. After what you hear here tonight, no one can debate, can prove otherwise, because they say the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Is that how they say it, Victoria?
That's right, yeah.
And that's what tonight's program is all about. So without further ado, let's meet tonight's guests and hear their amazing stories.
It's pushing me for the rest of the week, so it's like a boost.
Things were really tight.
Today, the way I see myself is completely different.
Very well. We're going to start with you, Jimmy. You have a very powerful story. Tell us about who was Jimmy before you knew about God.
It all started when my first marriage broke down.
Mm-hmm.
My wife left me and I became depressed. I couldn't sleep, so I started on alcohol to put me to sleep. At the end, I was drinking like a bottle of brandy every day.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, I went to marijuana. I was smoking that.
The bottle of brandy, I've never really drunk. I don't know how strong is a bottle of brandy a day. Is that very...
It's like 70 cl.
Okay. But does that make you drunk? I have no idea, forgive my ignorance. But
it can poison your blood.
Right.
If you're not careful.
So you went from that to marijuana?
To marijuana, and I would smoke and drink and go to sleep. And when I woke up, the problem came back.
Right.
So it didn't solve the problem.
Did you move on to other drugs as well?
Yes, unfortunately, one of my cousins was a drug dealer, which I didn't know. I just bumped into him one afternoon, and he offered me this crack something. I didn't know what it was.
Crack something.
Yes.
At that time, you knew it as crack something.
So I didn't know the effect of it, and I took it. The next day, I was looking for my cousin to give me more, and that's how I got hooked on it.
How bad was your addiction to crack cocaine at the worst point?
The worst point, it made me got into debt, and it made me very paranoid. I used to hide behind the wardrobe after taking crack, thinking that the whole world was after me. It was very bad. I was going crazy.
So you went from being an alcoholic to a drug addict.
Yes.
And you also had another problem. You started having another problem. What happened?
Eventually, I turned to gambling to feed my addiction. I didn't know that was even worse because gambling won't solve that problem. That got me into a lot of debts.
How much debt?
I ended up owing 43,000 pounds in debt.
So you were a man who had 43,000 pounds in debt. You were a drug addict taking crack cocaine how often?
Almost every day.
Almost every
It
day.
was like 50 to 100 pounds a day.
Right, 100 pounds a day. And you said you were depressed?
I was, yes. I was depressed.
Okay. Now I want to go to this lady who's by your side. Who's this lady by your side?
This is my wife.
She's your wife?
Yes.
Wow. What happened to you, Maria? I mean, before coming to the church, before meeting Jimmy, how was your life?
Okay, before I came to the church, I was terminally ill in hospital. And then that's when some members from the church came to visit me.
Right.
They were coming regularly, like probably almost every day, if I may say.
So you didn't come to church, the church went to you.
Exactly.
You were in hospital.
Yeah.
And before you even ever stepped foot inside the church, assistants or helpers from the church would go there to pray for you in the hospital.
Exactly.
How much did you pay for that?
Nothing.
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 They were doing that for free?
For free, yes. So they were praying for me, encouraging me, and they were supporting me throughout my sickness. And then eventually I received my healing. That's how I came to church, to give my testimony about my healing. And then they didn't just leave me when I came to church. They made sure that I was okay until I managed to overcome all the other problems that I used to have. And since then, I've been coming.
So you came to the church, you had been healed of a terminal illness that you had, you recovered.
Yes.
You, Jimmy, you guys met in the church, right?
Yes, we met in the church.
But when she met you in the church and you started dating, you had already changed.
Yes, I
right?
have changed.
Tell us about
yes.
the change. Very quickly, how did you change from all those problems you had?
Well, through my depression, I realized I needed help because I couldn't go out in the daytime. Everybody was looking for me to break my leg because I was owing them money.
So people were after you because you owe them money?
They were after me. If I go out shopping in the daytime to the shop to buy milk or something, if I see anyone coming, I always thought it was one of the guys I owed money. I used to hide behind cars for them to pass by.
Right.
It was a terrible life. And then when I came to the church, because I needed help, I walked about 3 miles to get to this church. I was just roaming around the street, hopelessly looking for help. And
which, by the way, it's like many people are right now, flicking through the channels, looking for something to watch because they suffer with insomnia, they're depressed, they're lost. But I believe you just found here the solution to your problem. So you came into the church, right? You were looking for help. How long did it take you for you to change, Jimmy?
From the day I came in, I received help from one of the guys in there, and he advised me to start chain of prayers straight away. Prior to that, I've been unemployed for 6 years. Prior to that, I was claiming benefit as well, on top of borrowing money from the banks.
Borrowing money, drug addict, gambling addict, and still on benefits.
That's right. So the first day, I received a special attention, and that was a Sunday. On the second day, I got a job.
So that was a sign.
That was a sign to say, right.
Okay, Jimmy, we're pressed for time. What I want to ask you now is, how long did it take you to be free from the addictions, the depression, and all those things you had?
The first 7 weeks, in fact, the first 5 weeks, I stopped gambling.
Right.
And I stopped the alcohol. Because coming to church, you'll be smelling of alcohol.
Right.
It was ridiculous, embarrassing. So I
But did
slowed
anybody
down.
judge you?
Nobody judged me.
No
No.
one.
I was in my own world there.
Right.
But I was desperate for this help, and I could see the answers coming.
And you were free from
was free
the gambling
from-
in 5 weeks. How long did it take you to be free from the drugs
The drug,
and the alcohol?
about 7 weeks.
7 weeks.
7 weeks, yes.
Before the end of your chain of prayer.
That's
So
right.
now, first to wrap up, you met Maria. I know that you made a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful pass at her. This is legendary, what this man said to attract this woman's attention. What was it again? What did you say to her to get her attention, to attract her attention to you?
Well, after I was free from my addiction, I asked God to bless me in my love life.
Uh-huh.
I needed a wife now. The first one had gone. Now I've recovered. I
You're a
needed
free
another
man,
free man,
clean,
clean,
you're happy.
ready to go for it
So
again.
how did you attract her attention? What did you say to her?
And I've always seen her in the church.
It has to be quick,
But,
Jimmy.
but
Let's
she was not attracted to me. I wasn't attracted to her. Until one day we met on the street near the church. She was passing by and I called her and I said, "Can I ask you a question?" She said, "Go on." And I said, "Why do you cut your hair like a man?" And she looked back. She said, "Beg your pardon?" I said,
But
"You
somehow
yeah.
she liked you. I
The
don't know-
reply
I don't
she
know
gave
how.
me is what attracted me to her. Because I was expecting a firework for her to attack me. So that was an insult. But she didn't go like that. She
How
just-
long have you guys been married for?
6 years now.
6 years.
Yes.
Maria, how have those 6 years been?
They've been great.
How is Jimmy as a husband?
It's a caring husband. He's a loving husband. I'm blessed.
And no addictions?
No addictions, no gambling, no taking drugs, no drinking. He's clean. Yeah.
That's great. So you saw there an amazing real life story of someone who overcame, a lot of adversity. We're going to go to Jerry now. Jerry, how are you?
Good, Pastor.
You okay?
Yeah.
I think, Victoria, I'm going to let you speak to him, interview him. Go ahead.
Okay, so Jerry, can you tell us where it all started?
It started from a young age, about 15, 16. I envied the life that my brother had. My dad left at 2, so I was a bit angry with my mum. And the life that my brother had, he had the clothes, the girls, drugs, etc. And I wanted that. And so how it was, I was hanging around, and then one of the elders approached me. And, because of the relationship we had already, he said, yeah, to start selling
So
drugs.
can you explain who this person was and how did you know him?
How I knew him was that we grew up together. He was just one of the elders that was always there, that was just looking out for us, really.
Okay, so what did he say to you?
He said, you want to make some money. And obviously at that age, you want to make a lot of money. So I said, yeah. And I remember he gave me a SIM card, a phone, and some drugs to sell. And from that day, I became a shutter, which was a drug dealer.
Okay, did you ever take the drugs yourself?
Yes, I did. I started smoking about 16, and I got hooked onto it. I was smoking a lot. It literally became a part of my life. It was so bad that even in the mornings, before I'd brush my teeth, I'd literally smoke first. So that's how I had to start my day. I was always literally high.
So were you at school or did you have a job?
Yeah, I was at college. I just finished secondary school, going into college. So I was selling drugs. And then it led to greed. I was very greedy. So much so that I started selling crack, heroin. But I never took crack or heroin myself. But I was selling it and it was bringing in the income. So I was making about 1,000, 1,500 per day for my own personal use.
Wow, that's a lot. I think we've got an image of Jerry during those days. Is that right?
Yeah.
You should have one. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so what was this? Tell us about this picture.
I was at one of my friend's house, and it was just one of those photos, you know, you're just posing.
Posing like a thug.
Something like that.
Is that what you wanted to be, a thug?
To be honest, no, I didn't. It was just something that was just going to pass by time, just to get some money, you know. I had plans, I had dreams.
We have another photograph, but before we show that photograph, I want you to tell us about the incident that has to do with this photograph, very briefly.
Briefly, what happened was I was deeply involved with drugs at that time, and there was a person that I was selling drugs to, and I didn't like this person at all. We was, you know, literally in arguments, in beef, we could say. And with this particular situation, I went to go and meet him to exchange the drugs for the money. And I think it was about £2,000 worth. And on that particular day, he normally never comes with anyone, but he came with some people. So I knew that something wasn't right. But either way, because I had a lot of anger inside of me anyway, so when I see somebody I don't like, I'm already angry. So we was already pushing each other. There was a lot of tension. And he didn't think twice. He just literally pulled out the gun and shot me point blank.
Whereabouts did he shoot you?
He shot me directly right in my chest, literally in my heart.
I think we've got an image of that one as well. Can we have a look at that? So that's the bullets. So it obviously got lodged in you.
Yeah.
Did they ever take it out?
They tried to take it out. And what happened was I bled to death on the table.
Gosh.
And up to this day, I still wonder why did they put it back, you know? And they put it back in, and they realized that I had a soft pulse. So they said, okay, now that he's breathing again, we can take it out. They took it out, and I bled out again, and I died on the table again. So they put it back in, and they realized that the same thing that was supposed to kill me is the thing that's actually keeping me alive. So they cleaned it up.
And it's still in there?
It's in there till this day, very day.
Wow, that's amazing. So what happened after that? How did you make things better, or did things get worse?
Things actually got worse because I never left the street life. I actually went back with a vengeance.
Right.
I went back to go and find this guy, but also I went back to make up for the money that I lost. And, you know, a lot of more fights happened, stabbings happened and everything. But I never changed until it was one day my mum actually brought me to the church. But I never still changed even then. You know, I was coming, but I was always thinking to myself, when is this service going to finish? I need to go.
So what happened? I assume something happened that changed your opinion.
Yeah. It was a particular day. I was in the church, and I was attending the youth group. And what happened was I went to my friend's house, but that particular day I never smoked. So what happens? I went home, and he came later on and said that, you know, you stole something from my house. And he came with his friends. And so we went outside, and he literally beat me up with all his friends. And he put a knife to my neck and said I should dead you up. But instead of that, he sliced me in my stomach. And from that day, I said, you know what, God, I need to change. Because if not, I won't make it.
You're going to die, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. So what was it that you learnt from church? What was there one thing that made you think, okay, this is me, they're talking to me here?
Yeah, there was a particular message, you know, that they were saying in the youth group to get rid of the streets before the streets gets rid of you. And that stood out for me a lot.
Yeah.
So I started to open up, and it was very hard, but eventually, when I got there, I let go of everything.
And I just want to say something, Victor. The interesting thing is that you went from having a bullet lodged above your heart to studying to become a heart surgeon. Is that it?
Yeah.
How's that going?
Yeah, it's getting there. It's
getting there?
Yeah.
So you are no longer in the streets, you are now on your way to becoming a heart surgeon.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Now, after the break, you're going to meet the man who used to live in the streets and eat from the bins. That's right. He used to go to the bins, the rubbish bins on the street, and eat from there. Sleep in the parks. No one wanted to have anything to do with him. He used to smell bad, stink when he first came to church. But even then, he was not sent away, he was not rejected, he was looked after. Now, if you're going through problems right now and you need help, perhaps problems like these people that are here with me today used to go through, then get in contact with us, 020-7686-6300, or send us an email to help@findinganswers.tv. We're going to go to a short break, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Finding Answers. So tonight our topic is against facts, there are no arguments. And we have 8 people here, each telling you their testimony. So now we're going to go to Manuel. Hello, Manuel.
Hello.
So could you tell us, where did your issues all start?
My issues all started when I started to drink. I used to have a very good job, and I used to earn very good money. The reason why I ended up losing everything was due to alcohol. So I used to drink a lot, and then going out with the friends. Sometimes I used to go to work even drunk. And then one of the days, my manager came to me and said, "Look, you were smelling alcohol. If you don't stop drinking, I will have to let you go from your position." So I said, "Okay, I will change." And I didn't change because I didn't have the strength to change, because I thought that was the way that I would keep on with my way. And then from there, I ended up drinking even heavier. So I used to drink the cooking wine.
Cooking wine?
Yes.
Right, okay, wow.
Yeah, so there's a cook wine that we used to cook the dishes with. And then every time I go and make a dish, I used to drink it before making a dish. So that was where everything started.
So was there a point then where, did you actually get sacked from work?
Yes, I got sacked from work. There was a day that I went there really drunk, and then I couldn't manage to do the work properly. So the manager asked me to leave, and then I left the job. On that very same day, my landlord as well came to me and said, "Look, give me the house key," because I was in arrears a month. So he said to me, "Look, because you cannot pay the rent, so you have to leave the house." Then I left the house on the very same day.
Wow, so what was the lowest point, would you say?
My lowest point was when I found myself, I was on the street, sleeping roughly in the park, and then I didn't have a place to have a shower, whereas before I could do whatever I wanted because I had the condition to do so. When I lost my job, I didn't have the conditions, and then I was addicted to alcohol. In order for me to drink, I had to go outside and asking people for money. Every time I get someone give me some money, so I used to go and buy alcohol to drink just to feed the addiction that I had.
So was there a point where you thought, I've had enough? I mean, I think there was a story about you changing your clothes, and how long was it before you managed to get a change of clothes?
It took about 6 months to do so, because I didn't have a place to change, no conditions to buy anything. So every time I wanted to change or do something, I didn't have nowhere to go, so I had to go to the park, doing the necessary things in the park.
I want to just ask him something, Victoria, because you wore the same clothes for 6 months.
Yes.
Now, I imagine, and I'm not trying to offend you or anything, but I want people at home to get an idea of how that was, because you wearing the same clothes for 6 months.
Yes.
Did you smell? I mean, how was your appearance? Did people judge you on the street?
Yes, my appearance was completely, destroyed because.
Did you look like a beggar?
Yes, I did, more than like a beggar, because the smell. People used to come close to me. They couldn't even get nearer, so they had to go by because the smell was too strong, and. Most of the time when I tried to get on the bus, I couldn't because I felt myself, I felt ashamed about myself because in the past I could do whatever I wanted to do. Then when it came to that stage, I couldn't. So,
how did you know about the church?
I knew about the church because in 2004 I came to the church and then I left the church in 2004. So it took me 5 years before coming back to the church.
So you came back at your lowest?
On my lowest point.
So a lot of people say, oh, people only go to church because they have money to give. You were a beggar. How much money did you have to give the church when you came in?
I didn't have no money to give.
You didn't have money, you didn't have clothes, you didn't have where to live?
No.
Right?
Yes.
Is it true that you ate from the bins?
Yes, I used to feed myself from the garbage, the bins, because I didn't have money to buy what I wanted to buy. And then in order for me to eat, I had to go around and then find whatever meal people used to leave leftovers, chickens that people used to eat, so they used to put there.
So if someone would be eating chicken thigh, would throw it on the bin, you would eat?
Oh yes, because that was the only way that I could.
And you know what's amazing, Manuel? I was briefing them before we started the show, myself and Victoria, and we were telling them it's important that they smile on camera, right? But we told them, look, but don't smile when you're talking about the negative part, right, Victoria? Because Manuel, for example, people looking at you, they would never say you were a beggar, because you're always smiling, you have a nice smile, you're always happy. How is your life today, Manuel?
Today my life is transformed.
Smile for the camera. Look at that. I mean, can you say that this guy used to be a beggar? No way. I mean, you look like a doctor, right? The way you look, you're there. But it's true, because God not only changes the outside of your life, but it changes you inside. Are you happy today?
Yes.
Do you need alcohol to live, to survive?
No, I no longer need the alcohol. I no longer need to go outside in the street to find a food to eat. And then I'm no longer as well on the street, so I have a place to stay and I have a job. So I would say that my life has completely changed due to the fact that I came into the help center, and then I got help as well from the members of the help center, so that were instructing me how could I overcome the situation that I was going through it.
Are you happy today?
I'm very happy.
And it's important to say, when he said, oh, I got help from the members of, or the pastors of the help center, not financial help. We didn't give him financial help. But he was a beggar, James. Why didn't you do that? Because if we gave him money, the next day he would be out of money again. We gave him the tools to change his life, and today you're a different man.
Yes.
Right? Thank you for your story. Now, I'm going to go to you, Fatima, because your story is very powerful. Because is it true that you made a pact with the devil?
Yes, it's true. But
you made a pact with the devil.
I made a pact with the devil, but in that age I didn't know it was the devil. Because when I made this pact, I was 12 years old.
So it was an entity, but you didn't know what it was?
No, because that figure, because my story started very early age, with 6 years old.
Which we don't have time today for the long version. Today has to be the short version.
Very short.
But your story is so powerful, Fatima, that even the short version is going to touch a lot of people at home, because her story is very unusual, because you had a lot of spiritual problems.
Yes.
I want you just to tell me, over the years, what were the symptoms of the spiritual problems you had? Just tell us that in a few moments.
It started with the 6 years old. I started speaking with this figure of a man.
So you used to see someone?
A man.
A man.
Dressing in white, the first, until the 12 years old. After the day I had this conversation with this person, on the following day I started smoking drugs. I started smoking drugs with the 12 years old, and I have this stage. My life changed from that age until I found God. But through that road, I had so many tribulations, so many attacks. People, no one believe me. Imagine I'm here talking to you and I say, hold on a second, I'm talking with that person there, but you can't see.
There was no one there.
No, there was someone
You
there.
could see someone there, but nobody else
They
could.
couldn't see.
Were you crazy?
They called me crazy. I was in mental health hospital. Many
But
people
actually, you were in mental health hospital, but today where do you work?
in the hospital.
You work in a hospital.
Yes, but it's a long story. until
Yes,
this
I
day.
know. What do you do in the hospital today?
Today, I work with the patients. I'm a healthcare support worker, but I don't do this field. I'm a coordinator of a ward. I work with the doctors, patients.
So you went
people
from being considered a crazy person
working.
to having a work with a lot of responsibility.
Yes, but before that, Pastor, before being
No,
with
I
the-
haven't finished your story. I want to know, you said you started seeing these things. What other supernatural experiences did you have?
I was coming there. Is because I would say, I'm saying to that person, you don't see, the person doesn't see. But I have people surround me, they could see the manifestation of supernatural, something unusual. Like imagine you are home with me, and the windows, the plates, the doors, they bang. People, they could see that.
It wasn't the wind.
No, the doors, they was closed. And I have children with me, like my sister with around 12 years old, my son, my niece, they were with me. And there was
Tell
other
us
people.
about, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to help you to stay on track with your story. Tell us about you used to have these supernatural sexual experiences.
That was...
And a lot of people say, oh, you know, sometimes that happens to me, but or I've heard it happens to people, but they're sleeping. But
No.
with you, it was different.
No, it was...
Tell
I
us
was
about
awake.
that very briefly, please.
That spirit, after many things happened in my life, he became my husband. No man could come near to me because he will kill him. He put one of my boyfriend in jail, another one get killed. And how could I explain this to people? I used to be a very aggressive person because when I used to have this contact with this spirit, in the beginning he only touched me. But when I split up with my husband, he became my husband. How I can explain is this to the people, to humankind. I used to have sexual relation with someone no one can see. If I was already inside of mental health hospital.
Were you awake or were you sleeping?
Awake. I never had sexual relation with this spirit when I was sleeping.
So it wasn't like a dream or anything
No.
like that. And was it something physical or like a person there? I'm sorry I'm asking you these questions, but I want
can
people at
ask-
home to
I
understand.
can answer you. You know, we are men and women. I think this time children, they are not awake no more. You know when you are with a man or with a woman in the bed. I could see him. I could see him. When he was having sexual relation with me, I couldn't see him physical, but I couldn't feel him. A man on top of me, doing everything a man can do. And it's one of the worst thing, if there is anyone have this experience and listen to me now, they know it's one of the worst thing can happen to a humankind. Because it's very painful. In the following day, you are all your bones is pain. And you can talk with no one, you can tell no
Fatima,
one.
I'm going to stop you there. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, I'm going to hear from you how your life changed. So you heard from someone who had all these supernatural experiences that you can't explain. People used to think she was mad. And we now have two kinds of people watching us now. People who think that you were mad indeed, Fatima. And others who think, listen, that's exactly what happens to me. I never knew anybody went through this and never mind getting help. But if she found help, I want to find help as well. The telephone number is there on the screen. It should be there. It's there now. 020-7686-6300. Give us a call now. And the help that she received, you can find as well. We're going to go to a short break. We'll be right back.
They say that home is where the heart is, a place that should be filled with joy, security, happiness, and memories. However, sometimes our own blood is the cause of most of our pain. Before you lose hope, try this. Every Thursday, come and pray for your family and receive the guidance and support that could help you all reconnect again. After all, no amount of success can compensate for a broken family.
This one's for the ladies out there. If you would like a brighter and more successful future, or if you need to overcome a past of grief and pain and receive guidance, we have an amazing meeting coming up on the 25th of November at 7 p.m. Often it takes a woman to understand another woman because there are things that only we go through. So as well as the meeting, female advisors will also be available to talk to you privately who themselves have been through struggles in life and came out on top. We're willing to help you achieve the life that you've been longing for. Join us at 234 Kilburn High Road, London NW6 on Tuesday the 25th of November at 7 p.m. For more information, visit uckg.org/Rahab or call 020 7686 6000. I'll see you there.
Very well. So you heard before the break of the woman who had all these supernatural experiences that weren't pleasant, they weren't good experiences, they were terrible experiences, addicted to drugs. Fatima, how many times did you try to commit suicide?
3 times.
3 times. Okay, how did you come to the church? How did your life change?
It was from the 3rd time I tried to kill myself. I do believe because my mom already, she knew the church. I didn't like this church. I used to call you thief. And
you used to call me thief?
Yes,
I mean,
used
not
to.
me, because you didn't
No,
know
I used
me.
to call the church the...
And that's why I asked Manuel how much money he had to give, because you were a beggar, you had nothing. And even you, how was your life when you came to the church? Was it good?
No, it was. That's
Wasn't
why
it?
I was going to kill myself. I used to spend more than 600 pounds per night in cocaine. And I used to call you thief, but I end up...
But you never called the drug dealers thieves?
No.
Okay. So when you came to the church, Fatima, how did your life change?
I came to the church as a last door because I was going to kill myself, and I ended up in the church. And even now when I wake up, I said, I don't like what I came here to do. And he said, you came by yourself. And it was very hard for me to get free for all this, but I could overcome all this through chain of prayers, sacrifices, obeying the word of God, and believe in God. God could help me to change. Almost 18 years pass, and I'm here.
It didn't take 18 years for your life to change,
No.
but it's been 18 years since.
And 18 years. And I can see a lot of change, but I don't need even to say it, because those who used to know me, I used before, because who are looking at me, they don't know me for real. But I used to be very aggressive person. I used to wear a gun, a whip, to beat people.
A gun and a whip?
Yes. And when I was in mental health hospital, I broke that jacket. For you to see, need 7 men.
You mean the straight jacket?
7 men to hold me. It wasn't me. Like I said, it was that thing.
7 men to hold you.
To hold me.
But today you don't look aggressive. You look peaceful and
Praise
happy.
God.
That's good. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Now, we're going to talk to Pamela. Pamela, because you had schizophrenia, I'm going to let you talk to Victoria, because Victoria here is a psychologist. So I think she's the right person to hear about your story. Victoria.
Yeah, so tell us about your story.
Well, basically, throughout my teens, I was quite rebellious. I wanted to go out drinking, smoking, not concentrating on my studies at school. So my main focus was going out, partying, going out with guys, etc. But then when I reached 20, out of the blue, I started hearing voices in my head.
So what were they your own voice?
No, they weren't. It wasn't my voice. It was other. It was different. I had about 4 or 5 people inside my head: men, women, girls, talking.
What were they saying?
Just insulting me, talking to me, saying stuff about other people, saying that person can hear your thoughts. At first, when I first heard them, I thought I was telepathic, basically. That's what I said to my mum. Mum, I'm hearing voices like I'm telepathic. I thought I had like special powers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was it, did you just ignore them, or?
Well, I couldn't ignore them because they were taking over my head. I thought they were invading me. They were talking to me, and then gradually more voices started to come in there, like the man's voice, the young girl's voice, the other woman's voice, and I had no way of controlling it because I couldn't see it. I couldn't see them. So basically, obviously, I told my parents. My mum was very concerned. She said, okay, this is not normal. I got to a point where I couldn't work because I was so paranoid listening to what they were saying to me. They were basically taking over my life. I couldn't do nothing. I couldn't even rest my head down because they were talking so much. So basically, I was put on medication. The doctors told me, okay, she needs to go on some form of medication. They put me on 3 types of medication, antipsychotics, antidepressants, and sleeping pills at one time.
Gosh, that's a lot.
Yeah, so I was actually so doped out.
Yeah.
I was like a zombie, basically, because the doctors thought that this was going to control what's going on with me. And they still wouldn't go. And I had to try different types of tablets as well, different medications. So basically the tablets weren't working, so I decided to start drinking. So what I would do, I'd start drinking, going to the shop, buying beer, wine, cigarettes, and getting drunk. So if I was drunk, I'd feel better.
Were you taking the medication as well?
Yeah, taking the medication at the same time.
Gosh.
So it's kind of a dual diagnosis thing. I was an alcoholic at one stage and a schizophrenic at the same time.
Wow. So what was your lowest point, would you say?
The lowest point is when I ballooned out. I went from like a size 8 up until like size 16 to 18. Massive. People from school didn't recognize me. They wouldn't. My family was like, because I got so big, my arms were out here, everything. My face was out here because of the medication and the alcohol and the food. I wasn't eating properly either. Takeaways, not looking after myself, not even brushing my teeth. I was in such a depressed because of the voices that took over.
Of course.
Yeah.
So what changed?
Basically, I received the City News, came through my door, and I was like, okay, well, I've tried everything. I tried witch doctors, acupuncture, you name it. I tried it to get rid of these voices, medications, herbal stuff. And I received a City News from the church, and it was talking about testimonies. I seen the timetable at the back for Friday service, for deliverance, and I'd never seen that before. So I thought, okay, let me go and see what this is about. I rang the helpline, I spoke to the girl, and she basically gave me her testimony. She sounded quite friendly, and I thought, okay, at first I was a bit strange, but she spoke to me in such a way where I thought, okay, I feel a bit comfortable, let me go down here. So I had to find the branch in Finsbury Park, and I went in, and it was a Friday service as well. And basically from there, I just started attending, and the pastor, what he said to me, which was really helped me, the first thing he said to me, do you believe you can be free from these voices? And I'd never heard that before, because I was told I have to live with this, I have to take medication the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And the medication would balance everything out. And that's what I was told by psychiatrists, doctors, by my mum, take your tablets. And basically when I came to it, he goes, do you believe you can be free? Do you believe that your life can change? And I thought, okay, well, it has to. Yeah. I can't live like this the rest of my life. So gradually I started coming to the church. First of all, I gave up drinking, smoking, and it took gradual time. I came off the tablets, had to lower my dose, and then I'm free from everything now.
So how long until the voices totally stopped?
Well, for about 11 years I suffered from it, and I came to the church 2004. And you can say about 2009, I was totally free.
Wow.
So it took a long time, but it didn't happen overnight.
Of course. Wow. But how are you today?
I'm well today. I don't hear any voices in my head. I'm not an addict. I work. I'm happy. Happiest I've ever been in my life.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's great. Now, I want you to follow me. Actually, after the break, we're going to go into a short break. Now, you will hear from 2 women who are here, who have both gone through abuse and overcome it. Now, I want you to see something interesting. Let's go to this camera here. If this camera can follow me, come along, follow me. You will see there's a cameraman here. You see, he's there, Xavier. and just here, we have more people that wanted, so you get to see all our studio today. Let's open the camera here. We have more people that wanted to come on to tell their stories. They say hello. We have another young man sitting there. Say hello as well. But we won't have time for everyone. And this is to show you that we could spend here days showing you people's testimonies, how their lives have changed. And, you know, we had someone who came to the church last week, and she said she was riding her bike, and she she fell off the bike. She was riding, fell off, hit her head on the floor. When she hit her head on the floor, surprisingly, when she banged her head on the floor, there was a newspaper of the church there. And she picked up the newspaper on the same day she came to the church. Now, perhaps this program is that newspaper, is that fall off the bike for you. Make a decision to do something about your problems today. Give us a call, 020-7686-6300. We're going to go into a short break. We'll be right back.
The UCKG Helpline Call Centre is open 24 hours a day, every day of the week, all year round. If you need help due to a serious problem you may be going through, if you feel that you have nowhere to turn to and desperately need someone to lend a listening ear, then we can help you. It doesn't matter who you are or what you have done, your religion or race, your call will be answered by someone who genuinely cares about you and has your best interests at heart. We also arrange home visits for the housebound and hospital visits for anyone in great need of kindly human contact. Whether it is simply information you want or desperately need someone to talk to, we're here for you on 0207 686 6000.
Very well, we don't have a lot of time left. So I want to go to these two ladies that we've kept them for the end because their stories are very similar. So I'm going to go to our second Pamela. How are you, Pamela?
I'm fine, thank you.
Pamela, what's your story? What happened to you?
My story is that as growing up as a child, I went through child abuse. And through that, I decided I wanted to leave my house. And at the age of 14, I met my boyfriend. And through that, we were together and I got pregnant. And in my relationship with him, we got married, and I had a child. But throughout my time with him, he started to abuse me. And physically? Physically abuse me. And he had full control over my life. He could do anything that he wanted to do with me, because behind closed doors, not a lot of people knows what goes on behind closed doors, especially when you have your abuser there. It's only you and him. And he beat me when he wanted. He could do whatever he wanted to do with me.
When you say he beat you, was it like a slap?
No, it wasn't a slap. It was punches, kicking, belt, anything he could get.
With a belt? Even?
Yes. He beat me with a belt.
How long did you stay in that relationship?
I stayed with him for 7 years.
How did you feel in those 7 years?
Very angry, bitter, revengeful.
In terms, how was your self-confidence? Because you stayed in this relationship being abused and you didn't do anything about it. How was your self-confidence?
I had no self-confidence at all. None at all. I was paranoid. I started hearing voices and, I even wanted to kill him. Mm-hmm. Because he made me suffer so much that the only thing that was inside of me was revenge and bitterness.
Am I right in thinking that from this abusive relationship you went to another one?
That's right, yes. Eventually I managed to get away from him, and I ended up meeting somebody else, and that reason was meeting somebody else was because he was able to help me to get away from the first one, because he was protecting me. And when I met the second one, this time he was mentally abusing me, because at first he would say, I'd look after you, I'll take care of you, don't worry, you're safe with me, and which he did, but only to find out that he was betraying me. It was betrayal this time, and that made me even lose my confidence even more this time, because I felt inferior to other women. Like
So the
I
one who
wasn't
was
good enough.
the one who was initially protecting you started to abuse you as well.
Yes.
Coming to the church, how important was that for you to overcome all the trauma that was caused to you over the years, and how are you today?
When I first came to the church, I came because of my sister. It didn't really come for me, but along the way, I started seeing, because my sister was sick, and
Your sister is the one who was in the wheelchair.
that's right, yes.
Right. We have to bring her on. We didn't bring her on. She was in a wheelchair when she first came to the church, right?
She was, yes. And I only came because she asked me several times, and I did come. I came. And one day I realized that they were praying over my sister, and that time that I was there, I witnessed something that my sister manifested, and through that, through my own eyes, my sister walked, and that's what actually kept me there.
And she's still walking today.
She's still walking today. Only God knows how, you know.
What about you? Have you overcome the trauma of the past?
Yes, and that's what made me stay, because I realized there was something different about this church, you know, because I've been to many churches before, but this one was different. And I saw, I started getting counseling for myself, because there was a lot of like anger inside of me, issues, pains, and which I needed I needed help,
right?
But not realizing before that I needed help.
And today you are free.
Today I'm free and happy.
That's great. So, Charlotte, you're the last but not least. How was? I mean, your story in a way similar to Pamela's. What's your story?
Mine started in my childhood as well. It started in my home with my parents. My mum used to attack me because she was going through depression. And then my stepdad came into our home. Then they used to argue, have physical fights, and then he would take it out on me. So it would basically be a battlefield in my home. So I wanted to get out of my home. And I used to basically run to boys, you know, run to my friends. I used to just want to be out all the time, just to get out of my home.
So you left your home. When you left your home, was it because of the abuse that was going on, the arguments, the fights?
Yeah, there was always arguments, fights, and it was really hard to be around my mum because she was verbally abusive,
right.
And it would make me feel really down.
When you went to your first serious relationship,
yeah.
Was that a way of escape?
Yes.
And what happened there?
My first relationship was around when I was 16. At first it was okay, you know, he was the type of person that wanted to settle down, have kids, blah, blah, blah. But it just turned very abusive, where he would try and control me, where I couldn't have no one on my phone. He would break my phone. He would say, you can't go out. And then I didn't know anything about relationships. I just thought, oh, this is the way it is. But then I kind of forced myself out of the relationship to go out clubbing and going in that kind of lifestyle. Did all the relationships you have ever become physically abusive? Yes. The relationship I had when I was 16, I actually came to the church. But then I left again. And then I went into the kind of lifestyle of partying, drinking, and drugs and stuff. Then I found someone else. But this time, this relationship was 100 times worse. It got really, really physical. He would punch, kick, he would put his cigarettes out on me. He would literally kick me out the bed kind of thing.
Why didn't
I thought I really had nowhere to go, and I really devalued myself. I wanted to be with him, but I knew he wasn't good for me.
Right.
In a sense.
Coming to the church and changing, who are you today? Are you still afraid of being alone? Are you still afraid of your future? How are you today?
No, I'm free. You know, I don't need a man to feel valued, if that makes sense. Like, I value myself today. Before, I used to think of myself like dirt. You know, men can do whatever they want to me, kind of thing. But I found value, and today I can stand strong.
That's great. Well, I want to thank all of you for being on the program. Thank you for, fitting this program into your schedule. And I'm sure that you all feel pleasure in being here because you want to share with people what God did for you, right? Now, I want to tell you at home, there comes a time when you're given a choice to do something about your problems, a choice to do nothing before your problems. It's up to you. And if you want to really change your life, then what you need to do is to do something different. Perhaps that something different is to come to the church, is to ask for help, is to ask for prayer, to say, help me. I need something to happen. If you want that, over the next 10 minutes, we will leave our team ready on standby by the phones. So it will go past midnight, but you can still call them. They will be there for the next 10 minutes. We don't usually do that, but I'll do that tonight. Also, if you want to come to one of the churches and meet any of these people that are here, you can arrange to do that. Perhaps they went through problems that were very similar to the ones that you are going through right now. Perhaps you are having spiritual problems like Fatima used to have. Perhaps you have someone in your family that suffers with an illness like Maria. Perhaps you're struggling with an addiction. Feel free to arrange to come and see any of them. In fact, all of them here help voluntarily in the churches, and they'll be more than glad to speak to you and tell you their experience personally and help you along your journey of recovery. If you want to do that, then give us a call now, 020-7686-6300. It's been a pleasure to be with you here tonight. We're not going to make a prayer because these testimonies you heard are already the motivation you needed to take the step that you need to take. We'll be back with you again tomorrow at the same time. Until then, may God bless you. Have a wonderful night.